Hello, this is Kuku, and I'm at the NAMM Show 2020, and I'm right here at the ASM company that just formally started and released their first couple of synthesizers, the Hydrasynth in 2 versions. And I'm basically mostly interested to hear what the creators of the synthesizer, where they come from, and who you are. So these are 2 of the creators. What's your name?
I'm Glen Darcey. I'm the head of product development for Ashun Sound Machines.
Yeah, and this is your colleague.
Yeah, I'm Dominic Au. I'm the product manager of Ashun Sound Machines. So I used to work for Focusrite Innovation, and now I'm here developing this new synthesizer with Glen.
Yeah, I'm just gonna adjust the screen. Yeah. So obviously you seem to come from 2 very different parts of the world. How did you guys meet?
We came together via the president of a parent company, Medeli. Her name is Fanny Ching. She'll be here in a few minutes. And she kind of pulled together the team. So I had met her when I was working at Arturia. He had met them via his wife, who was working for them at the same time. So they kind of pulled together this team and said, hey, we want to start a synth brand. Go do it. So.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it happened.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been a wonderful thing. They give us kind of free range to do what we want to do and what we need to do, and give us final say on what the product is and how it comes out. So it's been a wonderful thing.
But in terms of synthesizers and sound engine, DSP and everything, this is not your first entry into that realms, right?
No, I mean, I've been around for a little while. I started at company 360 Systems in the 80s, and I was at Roland for 7 years, and had a product dev for Akai from 2005 to 2011, and Arturia from 2011 to 2017. So I've been around for a little while. It's hard to believe I'm only 25 years old.
Is this something, I mean, when you start out as a kid, is this something that you knew early on that you wanted to do?
Well, I got into synths in like 1980-81 when I was in high school. And I was 17 at that time. And I kind of fell in love with synths and just the sound that they made. And so it was the sound that attracted me. I was a saxophone player before that, so I had a musical background, but not with keyboards. But yeah, when I got into the sound, it just captivated me. And then I got to study with a really good teacher named Stan Levine. And Stan came out of the Mills Tape College. He came out of the old school in the 60s. He studied under Sabatnik, and he worked with Surge back when they were all at CalArts, building Surge modules in the stairways at CalArts and that kind of thing. So I studied under a really great guy, and he kind of fueled me to get deeper into it. So at that point, I knew I wanted to be involved in synth somehow.
So what about you? How did it all start for you?
So when I was a kid, I went to places like science museums, and they're playing back those soundtracks, like very futuristic. So, oh, that sounds really cool, but what's that? I didn't know that after maybe a decade. Yeah. So I grown up listening to music like from ABBA, Bee Gees, the Beatles, and I started to wonder what are those sounds, what formed them. And afterwards, I got an opportunity and joined Focusrite Innovation, and did a lot of road shows and demonstration on using their stuff, and I learned a lot through the process. And it's great to have the opportunity to join the team in ASM and making things happen, and learned a lot from Glen. You know, Glen had those experience, and when he make decisions, there are reasons for that and the background for that. So yeah, I learned a lot through the process, and I'm happy that we're building things that musicians enjoy, and we see how they react to those design and they like them. So that's the satisfying part for designing instruments.
That's nice.
It's beautiful when you get to make a product that inspires somebody else to be creative. Yeah. You know, that to me is the best part. And I'll hear people talking about a product that I may have made 10 years ago or something, and I still love it whenever I'm always like, oh, how'd you use it? What are you using it? What are you doing with it? And I love that part of it too, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I've barely just played these for like an hour in the store, and to me it strikes me as one of these few unique synths that actually have very good factory presets.
Yeah, it's one of those that it's easy to kind of get lost in. I think when we started sound design, I think I told the sound designers absolutely no jump patches and no lucky man leads, at some of the traditional sounds. I wanted them to explore the synth engine. So, it can do all kinds of effects and ambiences and pads. So we're expanding the library out. But, the first library was the whole sound design team was like, you kind of get lost in playing in it. So now we're working with a guy, and I just saw him around here just a minute ago, Mati Asimovic. He just did 128 sounds for us. His artist name is Inhalt, and so we've got 128 new patches that are going to be download in the next day or two when we're not here, and we can get things back into the website and stuff. So again, more playable stuff. I've got a small bank that I'll probably be releasing over the next month or so.
But these are, do I call it this or these? I mean, it's the same synth engine in two different formats. So and these are heavily based on wavetable synthesis, right?
Yeah, similar. Yeah, easiest to say wavetable. It's single cycle waveforms. When I think of wavetable, I think of things like the PPG or maybe even like the Blofeld or the Virus. And the wavetables there are built where it goes from one sound to another, maybe one in the middle, maybe three sounds, and it scans between each of these. In ours, you can build your own wavetable out of this bank of sounds. So you can put any of 219 sounds into 8 different slots and create your own wavetable. So yeah, it's wavetable, but you can also do subtractive style synthesis. You can also do FM synthesis. There's some real legitimate like FM synclavier kind of sounds that you can do, or DX7 sounds. So I think that unfortunately we have to call it something, and wavetables, if we just called it, Timothy, nobody would know what it is.
So for the FM stuff, I mean, on FM, I assume that you need a very high resolution. What's kind of the resolution of the single waveforms here?
Well, internally, they're doing 64-bit processing on all of the math functions in there. So we're able to get great resolution internally, maintain really good headroom internally. The math is our own processor. We're not using another off-the-shelf processor. The guys in the engineering team code it all in assembly language. So the code is very compact and very fast. So we can even use like a less powerful processor but get way more performance out of it because they're not programming in something like C++ that's a lot more bloated and less efficient. So the efficiency and the ability to really optimize the code is much better with the team that we're working with. So.
But what kind of processor is it? I mean, running assembler on a modern processor is really tough.
Yeah, I mean, our DSP guys are pretty crazy intelligent. There's stuff that we've asked for on this synth that at other companies I worked for, it would have been a 6-month research project, and 8 months before you saw something. And there's things that we asked our guy Chen, and he's running around somewhere at the show, say, Chen, I'd love to be able to, pulse width mod any waveform in here. And he'd sit and think for a minute. He'd come back and go, oh, yeah, I think I can do that. And a week later, we'd have a working version. And he'd come up with he says, oh, I came up with 2 other ways to do it as well. Do you want that? I mean, Dominic were like, yeah. So I mean, we've got a brilliant engineering team that can do the stupid stuff we want to do.
That's amazing to be able to collect like super talents and extraordinary brains. Yeah. Well, how many people are you in the company?
There's really 5 of us.
Yeah.
There's 5 of us. They have other support that they get out of the parent company, Modeli. So sometimes they'll bring in some other engineers or like mechanical design. We can use their mechanical designers. Things like when we said we want a poly aftertouch key bed, we were able to bring in their mechanical design team and use it. So we have access to a larger team, but people with ASM business cards, there's 5 of us.
I see. So it's a pretty tight little team, small team.
Yeah, very tight. It's great that way too. You know, there's not a lot of hierarchy as far as when you try to get approvals on stuff. We talk to the owner of the company and we say, yeah, we want to do this, and they go, okay.
Dream scenario.
It really is. Yeah, having worked in this business for 30 years almost, this really is the dream scenario. And then kind of getting to build a dream passion project on top of it. I might retire next year, I don't know.
No, we want more.
So,
but are you all located in Hong Kong, the whole team? Oh, I mean the core team?
Well, Dominic's in Hong Kong. The president of the company's in Hong Kong. Our lead engineer's in Shanghai. And then I'm in Los Angeles. And our salesman, he's here in Los Angeles as well. So we're international. We work on WeChat and email, and we talk to each other every day for many hours a day, but just not in the same room.
Well, but sometimes you probably need to adapt the time zone somehow.
Yeah, you shift your work. It's good because then it kind of allows you to work when you work best. So I do really well early in the morning and late at night. So I can get my stuff done early in the morning, and then late at night they're coming into the office, and so we can talk for a few hours. And yeah, it works out really well.
Nice. So the Hydrasynth, it just launched like a couple of months ago, right? Before Christmas. And from what I've seen, it looks like it's been critically acclaimed by everyone, basically. How do you feel about the launch? How's it going?
Well, we can't build them fast enough. That's a good thing. It's a good and bad thing. So it's a bad thing for customers who are really wanting them, but it's always good to have an empty warehouse. So.
That's also like not a dream scenario, but very close to a dream scenario. Like high demand, but high supply would be nice too.
Yeah, high supply would be very nice. Yeah, and then you have the shipping time that it takes to get places. Some countries are paying for faster shipping than other places, so some people get them sooner. And the guy in the country next to him is like, "How come mine's not here?" And so the distributor, talk to your distributor.
Like, check this out. The what do you call this? The tabletop version, or the small and the big? Like, they're obviously the keyboard version and the smaller one. Is there something unique about the small tabletop version? It looks very colorful on the pads there.
Yeah, one thing, when we started to build it, we were going to just build a keyboard version. And then I kind of said, no, we need to do them both and get them both out at the same time, because there's 2 very different markets between the guys who aren't keyboard players, but they use synthesizers, and the guys who really are keyboard players or come from that background. And one thing that I've always hated on modules is when you can't play them. If I have to hook up a keyboard to audition something when I'm doing a sound design, it's hard to do sound design like that. Because a lot of times my keyboard's over here and my module's over here, and you're trying to stretch, see how long your arms are to do sound design. So we put the buttons on it just so that you can actually build sounds on it. And then Dominic started to come up with some different modes, so the key playback and the how we can lay out the different pad modes. Dominic came up with some good solutions, like with the fretboard mode and some of our octave row and octave modes.
How was that process?
It's like thinking in the role of the musician and the producers, what they want to achieve in maybe quickly, how they can change key and scale, and how things layout can be efficient. So just think in that way, you can come up with solutions like quickly, and then we discuss together and maybe discuss with some friends and musicians about their opinions on stuff, and make decisions.
Do you feel like do you feel stressed about making the right decision, like early on, and move on fast, or?
Decisions have to be made, and yes, some stress, but it's not that bad. Yeah.
Yeah, we make music products. We can't be that stressed. When you see angry people in the music industry, it's like, why are you angry? We're in the music industry. We're not making toilet seats. I mean, we have a fun job that we can actually play with the products. And, so, yeah, there's not that much stress. I mean, of course, you always have to make decisions. And we had a list of features and functions and stuff that we wanted. I think our feature list was like another 120-some features.
Our feature list is like insane, and we need to be determined about how to spend the resources. So it is limited. So okay, for this feature we want to keep it, but maybe fit in 50% of this, and this one is needed. So we are like fitting many stuff inside, and talk to the engineers a lot about how to optimize it.
Yeah, it's always that trade-off of the easiest thing to do is to create a list of features. You can go to any web forum, I wish this did this and this and that. That's the easiest thing. The hardest thing is, okay, which of those do you leave off to make the synth where you can still use it? The one thing is, just use a screen and bury things in menus. And that's the least musical approach, and the approach that a lot of people have taken in the past. And to me, it's like, a synthesizer should still be a musical instrument. You should be able to turn a knob and make a sound and make it do something different. I came out of learning on a Moog Modular 55 system in the local city colleges. I grew up on a Prophet 5 and a bunch of other things. I like having the ability to play my synth one hand on knobs and one hand on the keys. And so we had to boil that down into the macro system, but it's really nice because you can turn one knob and be affecting 8 different parameters in different ways. So it still keeps it very creative and very fast. And even in a live situation, you can quickly be playing, and jump between different modules. I want to adjust the release time on envelope 3, you hit a button and it's there. Envelope 4, it's there. It's all very quick and easy still to get around. But being musical, we make musical instruments. They should be designed in a musical way.
How, now it seems like you've made a real name for yourself in terms of your first product, and people are recognizing it as legit and it sounds good. Where do you go now?
We're going to Disneyland. It's across the street. We're not going to talk about what we're doing in the future. We were closed-lipped on this whole project for 2 years. We were closed-lipped on our latest updates. We're going to try to stay that way. There's some manufacturers that want to tease stuff really early. I don't think it does them any good, and it doesn't do the customers any good.
So
something when it's ready.
So about 2 years was the product development of this?
Yeah, it was about a 2-year project.
But from what I'm reading between the lines, there is a future.
Oh, there's definitely a future. We've got plenty of product ideas, and now we just have to figure out what products we can fit into the bandwidth that we have.
No retirement.
Yeah, ideas are easy to come by.
Nice. Well, yeah, best of luck in the future. I really believe in you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is a passion project for all of us on the team.
Yeah. we enjoyed a lot on it. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're having a good time. We're enjoying it. When we stop enjoying it, then we'll go make toilet seats.
Yeah, you probably have the right manufacturers to do that too.
Yeah, no, we've got great people though. You know, so.
Great people in the toilet industry.
Well, if you make your toilet seats wrong, that can be just that's a mess.
That's a mess.
Yeah, horrible.
And with those words, I think we round this off. I think I'm going to try to just play it a little bit so that people that are not familiar with it can get a little glimpse of what it sounds like. And when I say I was hooked in the store for at least an hour or a little bit more, and I usually I like to make my own sounds, and I want to do that too and learn how to use it. But a great compliment to all of the sound designers, because the presets, they sound really good.
We've got some great sound designers, a bunch of guys that I worked with for many years at different companies. We picked a bunch of guys that kind of came from different backgrounds and that we knew would approach it in different ways. So Willy Kerke's out of Netherlands is a guy I've worked with for years. He did a lot of stuff for Waldorf. Paul Schilling's done stuff for Deckard's Dream, and he kind of comes from that area. He did a bunch of stuff for me at Arturia as well. Dominic did a bunch of sounds. I did a bunch of sounds. We've got Madia doing stuff. Daniel Fisher. I'm going to forget everybody. Drew Anderson.
Yeah.
We had great sound designers that came from a varied background.
Cool. Thank you so much, and good luck.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We appreciate your videos as well. So.
Thank you. I'm happy to hear that.
So, thank you very much.